Hey everybody, tonight we're gonna cook up a nice pot of beans. I know y'all are probably cooking for several days at a time, so a good pot of beans obviously is a good thing to have. So I've got some real cool beans here. These are called Peruano beans. They're like a South American, Mexican yellow bean. These come out super creamy and good, but you can do the same recipe with black-eyed peas, with red beans, with lima beans, any kind of legumes. And this is, I just wanted to show this because this is why you sort beans. Look right there. There's our pebble. You don't want to be going to the dentist right now. Dangerous out there. Okay, so we're going to go through all these beans. We're going to take out all the bad looking beans because they're bad luck. We're going to go through them. We're going to go through a whole pound of beans like that. Get out all the pebbles. We're going to rinse them and we'll be back in a minute. All right, everybody. We're going to take you through the ingredients for a good pot of beans here. And like I said, I've rinsed my Peruano beans, but you can use red beans, black-eyed peas, lima beans, anything you want. Then you can also use a ham hock. I like a good ham hock, but what I really like is a smoked pork chop. If you can find these in your grocery store, there's a lot of meat on them, smoky flavor, and not a lot of fat and bones, so that's real good. A couple links of Andoullie sausage. If you can't find, I really like Adele's, Bruce Adele, shout out to you. That's a good brand, Andoullie sausage. And if you can't find Andoullie, you can substitute like a Polish sausage or just a smoked sausage, anything. We're gonna use half an onion, a couple garlic cloves. If you like more garlic, you can. You can also use a green bell pepper or red bell pepper. Kimmy's not that fond of bell pepper, so I like to substitute a carrot. You can use both if you want. That's a nice flavor too. And then our spices, salt and pepper, oregano. Here's a great spice you need for any Southern or New Orleans style cooking is marjoram. So get yourself some ground marjoram. This come into play in your gumbos and your beans and everything. Of course, some cayenne pepper, spice it up a little bit. Beer, you might need 2 beers, one for the cook and one for the pot. And then some good blackstrap molasses, any kind you can get. So we're going to cut all this up into nice bite-sized pieces and show you how to cook. Right, so as you can see, all these ingredients just magically cut themselves into bite-sized pieces. Got your sausage there. I'm going to keep this pork chop whole. It's kind of acting as a ham hock. Right now you can use a ham hock, but I like to smoke pork chop. I'm going to keep it whole. I'm going to cut it up later when it's all cooked. So come on over here to the pot. Let's talk about pots. I really love these Mexican bean pots. Yeah, if you have one of these, or you can get one of these on Amazon, I think for about 20 bucks, a 1.5 quart Mexican olla for frijoles, or a Mexican bean pot if you just type in that search. This is a great investment. You can throw everything in there, cook it down, it's going to come out great. Most of you do have a Dutch oven or just even a spaghetti pot or something, so I'm going to go ahead and cook these in this today because this works out great too. And let's talk also a little bit about, oh, I already got that pan on, but also about people think you got to soak beans for a whole day. That's great if you do have an extra day. Soak your beans in cold water overnight and cook them the next day, that's fine. A quick method is to just put them in a pot, bring them up to boil. I've got these up to boil right now. I'm going to turn them off and let them just sit for about a half an hour to 45 minutes. And then I'm going to drain off that water and then use those beans. It's kind of a quick soak method. You know what they say about beans, and you know, everybody shares that. But hey, if you're someone you love, you know, does it really matter? But we got a pound of beans in there, which is exactly 239 beans. You know why, Kimmy? Why? Because one more would be too farty. All right, let's get sausage, some onions, browning in the pan. Gonna hit the garlic kind of towards the end. You don't want to burn your garlic. Sort of changes the flavor. We're going to stir that up, and now check this out, Kimmy. Good old blackstrap molasses, and this is when you hit it right here. Yeah, baby. It's going to sweeten up the beans. It's going to caramelize those onions. If you like bell peppers, go ahead and throw your bell peppers in before this step, and let the molasses hit that. Those carrots, I like to put them in after. Put all that other stuff in there. I'm going to hit it with some spices. Good pinch of salt. You can always add more later, but you can't take it away. spice in general. I'm going to shake some pepper in there. Got some oregano. Just a small pinch of oregano. Plenty of cayenne pepper. We like it a little spicy around here, so. Woo! That's right, we turning it up. And then, where's my marjoram? Oh, right here. My favorite spices in Southern cooking is good marjoram. And you know, you don't need to buy expensive spices. You can buy one jar, and then you can go down to the Mexican market or maybe to Whole Foods or any place they sell bulk spices, and you can get a whole jar of this stuff for, you know, a couple bucks. Whereas that might cost you $5 to buy the jar, $6. But once you got the jar, you can just. All right, I got this up pretty high. I'm still browning all this. I'm cooking all that down. Oh, look at that. That is some love in there. And then one spice I forgot, I think earlier, a good sized bay leaf. I'm going to toss that in there. Take everything out of the pan. We're going to saute that down. Be right back. All right, we got our beans and we brought them to a boil, and then we let them soak in the water for half hour to an hour. We're going to pop those in the pot. Put that aside for somebody to clean up. Stir that all up. And then we're going to add some liquid, which should be, in this case, you can use chicken stock. You can use water. You might need a little extra salt if you just use water. Or a beer. Good. 2 beers maybe. What you ideally want. I got water in that pot. You can use a beer and some water. Let me get a little bit of water on top of that beer. And really what you want is about, an inch or so of water. These beans are floating because I already soaked them, but you just want a good amount of water in there so they're not too dried out. You can add water as you go later, or a chicken stock works good, beef stock, anything you got. More beer. Don't waste your beer though. I heard they were maybe going to stop making this stuff, so. Anyway, we're going to bring that up to a boil. We're going to turn it down. We're going to let it boil. Then we're going to bring it down to a simmer, and those are going to be done in about 3 hours, depending on the kind of beans. Lima beans, maybe about 2.5 hours. Black-eyed peas sometimes can take a little longer. We'll see with these Peruanos, but that's going to be delicious. All right, got my beans up to a boil. I'm going to add the smoked pork chop, or a ham hock if you got it. Just going to submerge that down in there. I don't like to boil that meat too much because it might get a little tough. So I'm just sticking it down in there. Once I got that up to a good boil, I'm just going to kick that down to a very, somewhere between a simmer and a low boil. I'm going to cover that. Let's go play some music and check on this in about 3 hours. So it's been about 2.5 hours. I just pulled the smoked pork chop out of the pan. Look at that, how tender that sucker got. And I'm just going to cut that up into some nice bite-sized bits and put it back in the beans. You get a lot more meat off these things than you do a ham hock, which is what I like about them. And probably just toss that bone away. Don't let your dog get it. It'll splinter in his. I also realized I had a jalapeno in the extra jalapeno in the fridge, so I decided to put that in there too. And I'm just going to cut that. That's been cooking there for about 2 hours too, so I just dropped it in the pot hole. I'm just going to. This will make it a little spicier. All good. I'm going to put that back in the pot, let it cook about another half hour, and we're going to be ready to rock. Hey y'all, 3 hours later, played some music, walked the dog. Look at those beans. Hope you called some people today and told them you loved them. And tell your sweetie you love her too. So we're going to put that over some cooked white rice. Look at those, beautiful. Beans are kind of like charro beans almost, huh, honey?
Mm-hmm.
That look good? Is that about what you want? Want a little more juice there?
No more meat.
Yes, sir, honey. You got it. Pop that over some rice. We're gonna bring that over here. They didn't have no parsley. I usually hit this with some Italian parsley, maybe some green onions, but we hit it with some cilantro, a little crystal hot sauce. Pick your favorite hot sauce. That's all good. A little of that. A little hit of sour cream.
Do a dollop.
We're gonna serve that with some good old Jiffy cornbread. Oh Lord, we gotta stop this video. It's time to eat.